First of all, Lizzie, just thank you so much for chatting to us today. How have you been and what have you been up to since the season's ended?
Yeah, so I had a couple of weeks off. I find it myself hard to rest quite a lot, but I took a good week for myself just to, completely deload and chill out after such a long season. So I've had my time off and I'm getting back into, like preseason work, just getting ready to build back into preseason to be in the best place possible.
And when are you back for pre-season? How long do you actually have off?
We've had I think we've had like a good couple of weeks off. But being myself, I don't really want to take the whole time to do absolutely nothing. So I took a good week, but we've been given, flexibility around how much time we want to take off, been given advice on what to do. But our pre-season first sale starts around, I think, the 10th of July.
Mm.
So it's not like a load of time, but it's a good amount of time to be able to get the rest that's needed.
And just kind of looking back at the season as a whole, how do you feel it kind of went from a personal point of view, but also from a team point of view as well?
From the personal point of view, I think obviously you can look at it and think, oh, we finished seventh, and there's obviously people that finished a lot better than us. But I think from a personal and team point of view, it's the best season we've ever had. So in terms of that, I think we couldn't ask for much more, and we just wanted to make sure that we definitely built on last season. You know, keep on going up, keep working, making sure the pieces of the puzzle are coming together. So I think personally we've accomplished that. And I think coming off the back of games like the Worcester game, Loughborough, and the Bristol game, which we did lose, but you could definitely feel something building and it all coming together. So I think for this season, we just wanted to make sure we finished in a better place, got more wins, got more points, and I think we definitely did that.
And kind of personally, obviously, a lot of England under 20s appearances called up to that senior squad as well. So just how important was those kind of accolades for you during this season?
But it was unreal. It's a completely different environment to be in. It's something to learn from, and obviously going from under 20s to being called into the senior side of it, it's something that I just wanted to soak up as much as I could to take it back to sale and just keep on developing. Because I think us under 20s girls being so young and being in the environment when we can, we've just got to make the most of it because I don't think many people really get that opportunity. So if you're one of the lucky ones, you've got to soak it up as much as you can and put it towards every part of your game.
And you kind of mentioned sales season. Obviously, there's some difficulties with the applying for the league next year, and coming out about all the Northern Rugby Matters stuff from Sale marketed so well with all the T-shirts, and you could see in the crowd of not just the women's games but the men's games. How important was kind of that support from the club for the girls playing every week as well?
Oh, it was unreal. You feel the support around the club, but things like that just really put it into perspective. The men wearing the Northern Rugby Matters t-shirts to warm up in, people wearing them to the games, and you're seeing it all over social media. It just shows the extent of the support that you've got around the club that maybe you didn't feel like you saw before it. It just, I think it really summed up how together Sale Sharks is, both men and women, with the staff and all of the support, because it is, I know every team probably says it, but it's one big family. We have the men doing skill sessions for us, and, there's a real combination of both teams. The women go and support the men come and support the women. It's very, combined, and it's very mixed together, which just means the support is just through the roof. And like you said, with the Northern Rugby Matters, as soon as the unfortunate news came out that we didn't get originally into the Prem, everyone surrounded us at the club. It became even closer, which it's under not the best circumstances to happen, but it just brought us together. And obviously, through the creation of the Northern Rugby Matters, it just made us even closer as a team, and it was amazing.
How important for you do you think it is that there is a top level Northern Rugby women's rugby team?
It's I don't even know how to describe it. It's allowed so many people to play the rugby where they are at home. It doesn't mean moving away all over the country to have to play to want to play rugby. For me, I think a lot of us are northern and proud. We wouldn't want to move away to have to play our rugby. So the fact that we've got this northern team and we're building such a basis of it, we want to show what we're capable of. And if there wasn't a team in the north, I don't think we'd be able to do that from such a standpoint.
And kind of just looking at some highlights of the season, what would you kind of pick as a favourite game or favourite moment from this season?
Obviously we got some more wins this season, which were unreal. Like I mentioned, the Worcester game and the Loughborough game, which obviously you can never really top a win in a game that maybe you're being tipped to being the underdog rather than being the favoured winner. But I think Bristol at home was a really big game for us. As much as we did lose, it felt like a massive turning point in that the pieces of the puzzle were coming together. I came off the pitch with a huge smile on my face, as did many of the other players, because we knew that how we felt on that pitch is what we've been working towards and what we were building towards and how we wanted to play rugby. So as much as the knocking over the conversions or setting up a try or getting the winners, as good as that feels, it's I don't know, it just felt like a team game and something that we've wanted to tick the box for a while, and we finally got to do that.
You mentioned that Bristol game. Obviously, that Bristol team's full of internationals. Just if you had kind of had to pick a toughest individual opponent this season, kind of another 10 or another four who you've lined up in a tackle, who would that be if you kind of had to pick a tougher opponent?
The being a 10, being off the line out, you've always got some big forwards running towards you, which is always hard. Like I mentioned with Bristol, you've got Sarah Byrne running straight at you, which isn't always your cup of tea on a Saturday afternoon. But I think playing against other tens like Clayton George for Hartbury, Snowsill for Bristol, there's some people who I think, from my point of view, I want to figure out how they want to play the game to be able to get on top of it. So the players like that, and Claky with a kicking game was just, she's got a massive boot and it just made it harder. But yeah, I think opposition, like your opposition number is always the hardest people to play against because you want to be on top of them. But obviously, you're facing some world class players who have got more experience than you and are very good players. So yeah, definitely your opposition number.
If you kind of had to pick a player of the season for Sale, who would you be giving it to if you had to give a player?
I mean, I think the first name that comes to your mind is Georgie Peris-Redding. I think she's an unreal player and has finally got the recognition that she deserves, through getting called up to the Eagles and just some overall recognition throughout the Prem of how good of a player she is. I think she does a lot for the team. And I think, like KDM said in a meeting, she's the heartbeat of the team. She's one of our co-captains. When people are low on energy or struggling through the training session or the game, she's there to pick you up. And just overall, I don't think I've seen the girl have a bad game. So I'd definitely say GPR is the player's player from my point of view.
What about if you kind of had to give the kind of same award just to the league as in general, kind of picking someone from another team that isn't Sale?
I think Phoebe Murray from Bristol's had an unreal season. I got to speak to her at the end of the Bristol game, and she's just so. And I don't know if this sounds right, but she's so normal. You can just have a crack on conversation with her. But when you're on your pitch, she's running hard at you. She's fast. She's got great skills. She's a hard player to play against. Um, I'd say she's one of the first names that comes to my mind. And then you've got, your England players who always have standout games, your go-to players. But yeah, I'd say Phoebe Murray's definitely up there. I think she's starting to finally get some recognition that she deserves for how good of a player she is.
And kind of looking ahead to next season, kind of what are the aspirations for you personally next season, but also for Sale as a team as well?
So personally, I want to just keep on developing, keep on working with KDM, keep on getting my skill set growing and getting better. And then from a sale point of view, we just want to kick on and finish better than we did this season. So we've made an improvement from my first season to this season. And we just want to keep on going further. We want to be a top four team, as every team does want to be, but we really want to show alongside the Northern Rugby Matters that we can do it and that we're strong enough in the north to get it done. I think there's something exciting coming from Sale that people are yet to recognise or yet to see. And I think hopefully next season should be that season for people to see.
You've mentioned Katie a few times during this, just how nice is it to work and how special it's for someone like you as a 10 to work with one of England's best ever fly halves.
I mean, I don't think you could ask for anything better, really. She's very open to, if you want to do an extra kicking session or an extra skill session, she's there helping you out whenever. But it's not just helping the tens out; she helps everyone out, with every little thing that needs to be worked on. But personally, with the kicking, it's just she's able to break down my technique and what I'm doing with the kicks like no other. I don't understand it myself completely, but just little tweaks that are able to be made that just make the world of a difference. And it's just, I don't think you could get it anywhere else really. So it's, it's really good.
And obviously, a few England international, a few Red Roses are joining the club next year to Tash Harper, Moena Talling. Just how important is it to kind of see that Sale can attract these Red Roses players to the club now?
Yeah, I think it's massive. I think it's pretty known that we haven't had many, if any, red roses in the team. So I think it's great that we've got our first one, and then it's had a knock-on effect to sort of show that we are, a big enough team and a good enough team to have players of that experience and of that title. So I think it's really important, and it's had a really good knock-on effect to show that we are a team willing to compete and we've got the players to do so.
And kind of just finally, before I let you go, enjoy the rest of your day. So, what would you give? What three words you kind of sum up this season for you in Sale?
I'd say exciting, through winning games that people weren't expecting us to win. It's definitely been exciting for ourselves and hopefully for people to watch. Um, a bit of graft, it's not been the easiest of seasons. We've had our ups and downs with certain news that we've received, and we've had a lot of injuries. So I think it's been a lot of graft for people putting in hard 80-minute games and making sure we turn up week in, week out for training. So I definitely say there's been some graft in the season and overall just enjoyable. When you're playing well and you're training well, it just makes it way more enjoyable and more fun. So exciting, graft, and enjoyable.
Perfect. So, Lizzie, thank you so much for chatting to us today.
No
Best
worries.
of luck for next season and enjoy the rest of your summer as well.
Thank you very much, you too.